Welcome. So, what is a data warehouse? What is a data warehouse? You know database. Database stores data. Similarly, data warehouse also stores data. So, database we also call data repository. Similarly, the data warehouse is a data repository. That means it is a place where we can store a large amount of data. Usually, the organizations keep the data warehouse data separate from the organization's operational data. So what is the operational data? It is the transactional data or day-to-day data. For example, you go in the bank, you go in the ATM, you perform the transaction like you withdraw the money. So this process of withdrawal is a operational action. So whatever you do, all this get recorded in the database of the bank. And this is the transaction. So data warehouse data is different from the operational data. Data warehouse stores strategic information or strategic data. So what is the strategic information? You can go in the I button where I have already uploaded the video for strategic information. Now come to the data warehouse. It allows the integration of variety of application systems data. So the data from different data sources is collected and integrated into a single view for the data warehouse. So let's see the definition given by Imran for data warehouse. A data warehouse is a subject-oriented, time-variant, integrated, and non-volatile collection of data in support of management's decision-making process. So what is subject-oriented, integrated, time-variant, non-volatile? Let's see one by one. Subject-oriented. For example, you go in the market, you purchase something. So you are the customer. From which shop you are purchasing, what you are purchasing, that is product, provider, and what is the operation you are doing, purchasing, that is sales. So the subject oriented means the data warehouse is organized around the major subjects. No day-to-day operations. The banking transaction that we have seen, that is day-to-day operation. The data warehouse does not deal with the day-to-day operation. Rather, it focuses on the modeling. Analysis of data for decision makers and managers. It provides a simple and concise view around a particular subject. So everything is around these subjects. Next, integrated. We know that the data is collected from the different data sources, multiple data sources, and they are of heterogeneous. So data warehouse is constructed by integrating multiple heterogeneous and different kinds of data sources. The data sources may be relational databases, some flat files, or some online transaction records. So all these data need to be collected, integrated, processed, pre-processed, and then it is uploaded or loaded into the data warehouse. And before loading the data in the data warehouse, data cleaning and data integration operations need to be performed in order to maintain the explicit naming conventions, encoding structures and attribute measures, etc. Time variant. In data warehouse, the data is historic data. That means the manager, strategic decision makers works on the historic data or the data which lasting from number of years, for example 5 to 10 years data. That means the time horizon is very longer than that of the operational system. For operational system we call day-to-day transactions data. That means it for very few days data. And every key structure contains the time element in the data warehouse. Whereas when we compare with the operational data, it may or may not contain the time element. So time variant, you have to remember the word historic. The data warehouse stores the data for longer period of time, 5 to 10 years. So here you say we collect the data from relational databases, flat files, that is the operational data. Right, it is operational data, but when we store it for longer period of time, it becomes historic. So the data warehouse deals with the historical data. And non-volatile, the data from operational sources is stored separately for the data warehouse. What we said just now, the data is collected. Relational databases, flat files, online transaction records are collected for the data warehouse. But this data, current data, is stored separately in the data warehouse. Operational update of data does not occur in the data warehouse environment. So obviously it does not require any transaction processing. It does not require the concurrency control mechanisms. No transaction processing, no transaction recovery, and no concurrency control mechanisms are required. So what it requires? It requires only two operations in data accessing: the initial loading of the data and access of the data. So once the data is collected from different sources, it is processed, data cleaning performed, transformed, and then it is loaded into the data warehouse. And after that, the managers access that data for taking some decisions. So this is the definition of data warehouse. So data warehouse stores the information to make strategic decisions. Data warehousing is very important, very useful from the point of view of heterogeneous database integration. It is very important step while constructing the data warehouse. Again, there are some things that to be considered while constructing the data warehouse. The organizations are having the different types of data. Databases are very large. They contains very large amount of data. Again, the data is collected from multiple and heterogeneous data sources. And last thing, the data is distributed. So all things should be considered in all together to have a data warehouse. References, very nice book. Thank you. If you have any doubt, please comment, and if you want question banks or other guidance about the data mining and data warehousing, feel free to comment. Thank you.